Hello, welcome back to another video. Last weekend on Sunday I went to the South Region Championships incorporating Western League round 8, and it was a pretty early start. I think we got up around 6 and left around, or got up about 6 and we left about 7. But yeah, it was dark when we left, and because the motorway was shut we had a bit of a wonky drive over. But we got there, Pittville Park, Cheltenham, so it was a venue change because they had a problem with the parking at Swindon, which I think made it a bit trickier because Cheltenham's right on the edge of the south sort of boundary. But we got there and it was the under 10s that were off pretty much as soon as we arrived, and under 10s and under 8s this was, and then under 12s had a separate race this week. Here's Tom with a very strong performance, taking the win in the under 10s, lapped most of the field. And I was a little bit excited for this one because I've been training all season for it. This is one of my highlights and I really wanted to do well. So, and it's also because it was at Cheltenham, it's a course I've ridden lots before and I actually quite liked the course. It was very similar to the course I had earlier in the year, I think, because they had to put it together so quickly, and there also wasn't much tape because of that same reason. They weren't sort of prepared for it. But this is the under 12 start. Ben there in the middle missed his pedal and still managed to get into first place with a very solid lead by the top corner. So completely ripped the legs off everybody else in the race.
Well done, Calvin. Well done.
And then the 12s actually had some hurdles, and I think there were some good efforts on the hurdles, but I think having them so small meant that they could even be a little bit dangerous because there were people that were hopping without the proper technique, and it increases the likelihood for crashes. But pretty soon after that it was onto my category, so under 16s. I was good at 4th because it was done on national ranking, and I was next to Tom, and really I should have had a good start. I got away quite well, but I don't think my warm-up was very good enough. So you can see there I was like right at the front, but by the time I get to the top corner I've just fallen back so far, and I didn't have that sort of punch at the start to go with the front boys. So you can see Tom, Harry, Dan, Ruben, and then Harry and Adam come through, and then I'm just behind them. And notable mention to Rowan there, who got gridded at the back, had not the best start. I think he clipped in, or didn't clip in, and then he had to work his way back through the field and still rode to a very respectable top 10. Under 14s there, led off by Ted Peters and Jamie.
Well done, Albie.
There's some Soulless riders giving it a go at the regional championships. It was definitely a step up from the usual Western League because there were so many Wessex riders that were there today, and it really made the event a lot better. So here's Tom, and he's just absolutely flying early on. He's got a small gap on Harry, who again has another gap to Adam, who's in 3rd at this point. And the hurdles for our race were a little bit taller. I think they were probably about 20 centimetres, but I'd actually crashed them in practice and it just completely killed my confidence, and they were quite consequential, so I lost a handful of seconds every lap. But I managed to move up a bit. I was into 8th place, but I was in contention for P3 on George's wheel, but I just completely lost the group over the hurdles. So because Adam was in 1st, he managed to stay in the group, and then Dan overtook him. So you can see Ruben there is 3rd in the group, currently holding his P5. George there in 6th, and then I'm in 7th.
Doing really well. Good riding.
And I was coming back to the group, but there was a bit of a gap to George now, so I had to make sure I got round him in order to get back on. And then this was the off-camber, or sort of woody section, going into lap 2, and it had some little ups and downs. You can see here that just at the top by that tree, I actually get off the bike, and I ran down the bank, and then I ran up the other side, and I thought that was the best one for me, because it was quite a slow bank. But you can see here, I'm almost back onto the group, and I've got past George, so I'm currently in 6th place. And I was feeling pretty good at this point because I hadn't really exerted myself. I'd definitely gone pretty easy at the start, and I was enjoying the course, so I was pretty confident about the rest of the race, and definitely in the fight for the podium. So you can see Dan here just leading the group round. Tom and Harry were off the front at this point, and Tom put a bigger gap into Harry over the hurdles. And then here's George still fighting on in 7th. You can see Ben coming up behind him. So yeah, there's Tom, and here's Harry. And by the time Harry goes through here, you can actually see us in the background just coming in. So we weren't far behind. So yeah, there's Dan, Adam and Ruben, and I'm just off the back again. But I was sort of just taking my time, slowly working my way back onto the group. I did get back on a
Great
few
stuff,
times,
Nathan.
but it
Awesome.
was some mistakes that I made later in the race that caused me to get dropped.
Keep it up, Nathan. You're doing really well.
And I didn't want to waste energy and try and close back onto the group super quickly because I knew that would just completely ruin my race. So I focused on sort of trying to hold myself, waiting until Dan, Adam and Ruben maybe got a little bit more tired and a little bit slower, which I actually did in their lap times. And then over the course of the laps, I'd catch them earlier and earlier, because this time I caught them pretty much right before the hurdles and I just got distanced again. So there's Ruben there, just responding to an attack from
Great, Nathan.
Dan and Adam.
Awesome.
And then I'm literally straight away after now. So you can see Adam and Dan going literally right next to each other through that corner. It's just these, when the Wessex riders come over, it's just so much of a better event because there's a lot more racing that goes on. Here's Rowan still working his way through. And as I said earlier, I caught them right over the hurdles, so I just got distanced again. And then I caught back on, and then I got distance over the hurdles, and it was a bit of a cycle for me. So yeah, there's me over the hurdles, and I was planning on trying to catch them a bit earlier in the lap at some point, so I could make my way past them, and then I wouldn't get distance as far. Or not all of them, but yeah, that didn't end up happening. So you can see I'm there at the top of the hill, and that's a similar gap that I had the lap before.
Keep it up, Nathan. Good stuff.
And I was still feeling pretty good about it. But you can see here, Ollie's worked his way through.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
And then it was that off-camber sort of woody section where I tried to ride part of it and I wasn't able to ride it and I had to get off and I was standing still, ran into the tree. Just little mistakes that cost me the race really. And I hadn't actually crashed at this point, I don't think. But it was just that's what really distanced me from the group. And then I was trying to get back on and I pushed a little bit too hard and I just slid off on a left-hander, which caused Ollie to overtake me, so I was into P7. And at this point we sort of lost track of the race. So I went into the pits once onto my other bike because I'd actually broken the valve on my cross bike, or I'd done something to it and I ended up with a slow puncture. But I pitted onto a bike which had 40 psi in the tyres, so I had to pit again a lap later, having crashed 3 more times, so I was so much further back. But it was a really great event. But I pitted 3 times and eventually ended up on a bike that I was able to ride, didn't have a slow puncture, and it was my Paul Milnes, the rim brake one.
Okay, Nathan.
And I had a little bit of a tangle with a lapped rider, so you can see my hood there is just completely turned in, and I had to stop and full on front wheel between the legs, handlebars turning. It wasn't the highlight of my race, and I dropped from being in contention for the podium all the way down to 11th in a handful of laps, and that's where I rolled in 11th. I had a little bit of a battle with Harry there, Harry Bull, on the last lap, and I managed to get past him.
He must have come off.
I think Harry might have come 8th, so I was definitely on a good one for 8th. There's Ben, who came in for 9th, and Rowan in 10th, and then I came in here for 11th. Completely disappointed, but we go again. It was a great event. Massive thanks to the Western League and I think Cheltenham Town Wheelers, because they got up at 5 in the morning to kind of set up the course. Massive thanks to them. We just really appreciate them being able to put on an event at short notice. And well done to all the riders who came over from Wessex and got all the podiums. I don't think it was a single Western rider that actually won one of the youth races. But yeah, there's Tom, Harry and Ruben. Thank you to Ruben for that video. And then here's Isaac from AViD, riding for a strong P4 in the juniors. More great cross riding from him this year. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.